Tonight, in a special penultimate episode of the Greenhouse 7, our 7 jurors meet to discuss the season and the 4 players that remain. Which players are the frontrunners? Which jurors are still lying from the jury house? And what takes and big reveals do the jurors have to share with one another? It's a big interview with Josh and Brady. Let's see what happens. It's the Greenhouse 7 Roundtable.
Hello folks at home, thank you for joining us today. Today we're going to have our jury roundtable for Greenhouse Season
7.
So without further ado, we would love to introduce our jurors, so let's go ahead and get them out.
Please welcome juror number 1, Cody.
1.5.
1.5, yeah.
1.5.
We're going to have you sit in the middle.
Chair?
Yes.
Oh, I'm the middle. Okay, never mind. I'm number 1.
Please welcome juror number 2, Taylor.
Hello. Hello.
Please welcome juror number 3, Connor.
I know Connor.
Right over here. Perfect. Juror number 4, Kai.
I'll go sit next to Brady. I don't remember who it
Rock
is.
goddess.
Thank you.
And juror number 5, Aaron. All right, how are we feeling, losers?
Great.
I feel
Actually,
so
I'm
good.
feeling like a loser.
So painful.
I'm so happy.
Well,
That was kind of ruthless.
I mean, ruthless is what we're aiming to be here. So we wanted to make sure we're setting the bar, and we want you guys to match where we're at. Does that sound good?
That sounds
We want to leave everything out on the table
Let's be
today,
messy.
so let's go
Exactly.
ahead and get started, shall we?
Yeah, so you guys are 5 parts of picking who the winner is, which is really exciting. Congrats on making it that far. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about some of the gameplay, we're going to talk about some of your experiences, and then talk about who should win and why. And maybe who shouldn't win and why. So we're going to dive right into it with our first segment. We want to check in with each of you, see how you're doing. So Cody, how are you?
I'm good. I'm a little bummed because if I got out around earlier, I wouldn't have to be here today.
Crazy. Crazy
No,
sentence.
I love being here. It's great. I had a good time. It was a lot of fun. I really did have a lot of fun. It felt terrible playing so much game and then getting out like round 4. And I'm like, that. I feel like I did more than that.
It's
but
a
I guess I did.
hard spot to be. I want to ask you specifically, what was that Nightshade round like? Because between the craziness of balancing both different powers, one known, how did you navigate that? And ultimately, how did you negatively navigate that and end up out?
Sure. Yeah, I think the biggest thing about that round, man, this looks wild. I really don't want to see Louis here, but if Louis is here, I think it might open up stuff a lot more and as to what happened. But basically, there was some blackmailing that went down because what I thought was my friend wasn't really going to be my friend at the end, and it ended up being me having to just sort of trust that he was going to work with me, and it blew all up in my face. There was no way to get out. Maybe there's a way I play it safe where I just don't say anything. I just go with the votes, see if I can convince people to vote. I did have friends. I think we all technically had friends. We just had to pick what friends we wanted out.
Perfect.
And, yeah.
Well, we're not glad you're out, but we are glad you're out because we're excited to have you here. So, juror number 1, everyone. Woo!
Yes. Now I would love to move on to our second juror. Taylor, please let us know how are you doing right now.
I'm doing great, honestly. I actually was doing really well really quickly after I was eliminated. I was devastated to go, of course, but I did feel like I've built really strong connections. I took it as a compliment that someone felt like they needed to take me out invisibly. I also, having like talked to people since the game has been over, I've kind of gotten the sense that like the people who didn't vote to keep me should have, and I love that people pay for their mistakes. So I'm having a great day. I'm so happy to be here.
Are those people here? Is that what you're trying to say? Like,
there may be one, and you know what? There's gonna be more. But I'm so stoked too because we still have like, of the people in that room, I can see a strong reason for me to vote for like, most. We'll say most.
And we'll get into that.
Yeah,
We'll
for sure.
get into that too.
Most.
I do want to ask you something specifically.
Yeah.
So, I've heard, of course, some people are aligned together, other people may know each other elsewhere. Do you want to kind of, spill the beans a little bit?
Yeah, so I know Stephanie. We played an online reality game together. It was called The Hive. We played an all-star season together. She got 5th place. I got 2nd place. She voted for me to win. And she stayed at my house, I think, 3 times over the last year since playing. I wouldn't say that we're like besties, but I would say friends for sure.
I love that. Did any of you know that they knew each other outside of the game?
Absolutely. They didn't act like it.
Awesome.
Yeah, you ate that up.
That was a good idea after what happened to Daniel.
Yeah, did it help? Do you think it helped much?
So I don't really think it helped as much as it should have.
Did you guys work together at all?
So my thing was, because I trusted Stephanie, I tried not to be in the same room with her all the time. I thought it made more sense for us to kind of be in different spaces. And when she was on the block, the second round versus whoever the guy was, there was a lot of conversations about getting rid of Stephanie, and I tried to push her name as not the option in as subtle as a way as I could. I talked a lot about how emotionally she was handling things, and that meant she wasn't a competitor and we should keep her. And I felt like I tried, to like do things for Stephanie that like would help her game. And I do think she tried to help me, but sometimes I just think she could have been a little bit more active.
Do you think she was playing a game that was even helpful to you?
Not particularly.
Yeah.
She might not be playing a game helpful to herself.
And we'll get into that. We'll get into that. Okay,
Okay.
we're ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, that shit rattled in my brain. Right?
Yeah,
It's
that's
really funny.
That's true.
Well, hey Connor,
Hello.
how you doing?
I'm good.
Feeling good? I want to talk about you for a second.
Yeah.
Connor, you kind of were someone who painted a target not like this big, but like this big on yourself. However, you were able to successfully navigate that target for enough rounds that you have 2 jurors who came out before you and an entire pre-jury. What was it like managing that target on your back, and was any of that intentional? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, the target was unintentional because I panicked on the set thing, but then I kind of just embraced it. And then that was easy. So I've never played a game like this before where I've been like super dishonest to just pretty much everybody. I normally play pretty honest, like in all this stuff. This was easier. It's easier to lie. Yeah. It's much easier to lie, but once it gets down to, and I think I've said this to everybody, once it gets down to like single digits numbers like this, that target becomes too much. And it's like, the coolest part though is that in a group of like people where there are like obvious divisions and stuff, all of them got together and said we need to get rid of him.
Which is an honor.
Yeah.
Which is an honor.
The only unanimous vote.
Yeah.
No.
Or no.
Now.
Yeah.
Shit.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Crazy. Well, thanks for being here, Connor.
Yes, we love it. I do want to move on to the diva, the doll, Miss Kai.
I don't know her.
Well, we all know her.
Quién
Let's say
está?
that.
You know what I'm
Let's say
saying?
that. Well, Kai, what is your perspective now on the game, now being in the jury?
I am so at peace. I said this during my exit interview, but I feel like everything fell in place for me to go out when it did, and I'm really happy for it because my physical and mental. I could have kept playing the game, but honestly, like, just the anxiety of being in such a high situation like that. Like, when I play video games like Among Us, which is another type of game, I hate being the imposter. So then doing this, like, so nonstop, always thinking, we went home, and I was still thinking about it.
Right.
Yeah. So, I think the universe was telling me, like, you did a great game. Let's revisit physical and mental needs now. So, and I'm very happy about that.
Love that.
I love that. I'm obsessed. So, okay. Y'all know I like to figure out the tea. I like to know all the scoop. I asked Taylor who he knew prior to the game, and I've heard that you have another relationship in the game also. Let's speak on that.
Honestly, it wasn't fair, the amount of people that I knew coming in here.
Name her.
I know Cody.
Hi.
We both work at Rooster Teeth.
R.I.P.
At least 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah, the last 2 years. I know JP.
Yep.
I'll get into how I know JP in a little bit.
Yes.
I know Dylan. Dylan's the reason I'm playing this game. He invited me. And the reason I know JP is because Blizz, who was the black producer here yesterday, is JP's partner.
Right.
So I knew
You're good.
I knew all 3 of them coming in here, and and me and Erin have talked about this. She was like, why me? Why now? I promise you, it wasn't you then. You and I have talked about the fact that like we knew we were taking each
I'm
other.
at peace. I think the question was more like why in that moment?
And
why
I can
so
tell
early?
you exactly what happened because we both knew we were taking each other to the Final Four.
Correct.
Like Black Girl Magic only goes so far.
Oh.
But so what
Gotta put
happened
me
was
first.
I thought what was going to happen was that because I already knew Mackenzie was going to pick you up, even though I could not switch her up.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then I thought you both were going to put Dylan up.
But why do you say you both? I didn't have nothing around my neck. That was not my decision.
I know you're saying it's not your decision, but like, and I love Courtney. You both, I thought you both were gonna put Dylan up, and Dylan was supposed to go home.
Dylan and me and Courtney were working side by side. He was never gonna go up from us. Yeah.
That was just so funny because
Yeah.
I mean, now that you know, Dylan was
wasn't
working
gonna go
side
up
by
with a lot
side
of
with
people.
me too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before we welcome our juror number 6, I want to get to you. Something
I
that
am.
hurt the folks at home, I know it, was seeing
It hurt
you
me
not
too.
once, but twice get your power stolen from you by Green Thumb.
Oh boy, let's talk about that green thumb. The first one, I was upset that I lost it, but I didn't think it had. I was okay because I didn't think I really needed to be in power in that round. The second one screwed me bad. I needed that one badly.
Yeah.
And it's why I'm here because I lost it and went out in that same round. So
What round was that? I wasn't here. So.
I lost it in. You took it from me once.
Yeah.
Yes, I
I don't
took it
remember
from
what
you
round that
second
was.
round.
Yeah.
And then it was taken from me in round 7.
Or no, I'm sorry. I took it from you.
Third
for
round.
the
Third.
Third round and
Yeah.
7th
Rounds.
round.
This
And
is a
then
blur.
yes.
In the
So the second round it was okay, and also Connor had given me the reassurance like because I took it from you, I won't put you up. Louis actually did give me that same reassurance, but Stephanie is a loose cannon, and so I knew I was probably in trouble with her. So.
Well, thank you so much, Erin. I loved seeing you play. It's very rare we see a player who is a little bit quieter in the game find that balance of not being too quiet. And Erin, I really do think you broke a mold a little bit
Thank you.
and built a new archetype of
I
like
tried very
navigating the
hard.
game.
The person sitting here is not the person I was playing the game with.
Yeah.
No,
they
I
kept
really
very,
I turned it up.
Yeah, you were very
Yeah.
controlled and quiet, and you knew what was happening.
Yeah.
You were,
No, I think from the
it was
very
impressive.
beginning you were in that shit.
It was
Because you were one of the
impressive.
first people to talk to me when I had the power week 1.
I think my strategy going in was to get the lay of the land first,
Yep.
and I like to watch people and see who they're gravitating towards before I figure out which way is the best way to turn, and that's how I tried to play it, and it worked until it didn't.
You're still my winner.
Thank you.
No.
All right. Well, the 5 of you, you're incredible, but I think that 5's a party, but 6 is a goddamn good time. Am I right?
Depends.
Before we call this person out, I want a quick rapid fire. No reason. Okay, we got a budget. They want us out of here by right now PM. Okay.
Period.
So I want to just go down the line. I want you guys to say who you think is next. Let's start
To
here.
come out,
Yeah.
it might be Louis.
Louis.
T.
Damn.
T. The table has spoken, so I think it's about time.
I think it's about time. Let's bring her out.
Let's do it.
Her.
What?
So accurate.
Louis, come take a seat.
Louis.
Well, welcome, Louis. Thank you for joining us. How you feeling?
Well, not great, but
great?
yeah. Well, I tried my best. I'm a bit disappointed in how I played. I think I had loftier ideas for what I could do. I think the lack of knowledge of the game hurt me a lot. Like learning about this game essentially 10 hours before I played it. I didn't have the proper time to prepare and like know the rules like I wanted to, and I made dumb mistakes.
I know. Wait, I know
We
you
both
two are
did.
hosting. I want to stop that right here. First of all, shut up.
You
You
played
played an
beautifully.
amazing
I-
game.
you were literally final fucking sick, and you played this game 10 hours
Yeah.
ahead of time. There are things people. First of all, I already knew you were great. That's why I aligned with you. And there are things people have told me that you didn't tell me that I found out you did. You deserve to be in the place you did. You deserve to get as far as you fucking did. And that whole I'm disappointed how I played. 1, it's a learning experience.
Yeah.
And 2, you should be goddamn proud of
I was
yourself.
ready to vote for you to
Straight
win.
up.
I
Yeah.
think
Oh,
you
yeah.
played
On
a
God.
very great game.
Louis,
so.
the best version of this game, you get to make your case at the end because
Yeah.
you play a beautiful game.
I appreciate
You had a lot of votes.
You did.
That was, I wanted to make my case in the end. I think my whole idea coming into this was to downplay my target level. Like, I'm not a bartender. I work in medical sales. Like, I've tried to, kind of play the bumbling idiot who didn't really know what they were doing to start, and just try to create as many
You definitely didn't give up
relationships
bumbling
as I
idiot.
didn't give up bumbling.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah.
Wow.
You gave
I messed that up.
I was
smart
like,
ass
he's
player.
shy. He's really shy.
Yeah.
I want to real quickly touch in with Louis. Louis, is there any unanswered questions you want to ask any of your fellow jurors?
Aaron, I wanted to ask you
Yeah.
in regards to the seeds, because
Yeah.
that essentially ruined my game.
I know. So this is how I felt about that whole situation. I was very disappointed in the way that last round played out, because I essentially kind of forced you to show your hand in a way when I said I would like you to put Mackenzie up, and you told me I'm not ready to make that move yet. And when I told you, if you don't make that move, that means I go home.
Yeah.
And you still were like, I don't want to make that move. So to me, that read as you prioritized your whatever relationship you had with Mackenzie over the relationship you had with me. And I was like, that kind of sucks, because I had seriously from the jump been kind of helping you and protecting you. And obviously we all had separate allies, but I really needed your help in that moment.
Yeah.
And you weren't really, you kind of told me in the way that you would rather Mackenzie stay than me.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I knew Courtney was going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm just going to leave her with as much ammo as I possibly can to at least last for 2 more rounds.
Yeah,
And
no,
so
that's fair.
that
And
was,
as
that
soon
was
as
my
you left
decision.
Courtney, she wouldn't even
Yeah.
speak to me. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That was why that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, great. Tying some loose ends. I love it. But I do want to pivot, still within the same realm of Louis. Let's talk about the Nightshade round.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and kind of just open the floor to
Yeah, what the fuck, man?
It was a very dramatic round. I guess we can recap what happened. I had no idea who it was for the large majority of the time. I thought it was you.
Wait, you weren't the Nightshade?
I was not the Nightshade. No.
Were you the Nightshade?
The end of the round.
What the hell,
Why are you
Cody?
lying?
No, listen. The end of the round, we talked, and what had happened is
What had happened was...
No.
That's all every story. What had happened was...
This is why I hate men.
When we were talking, we were working together, I made a promise, I said, you can just claim it. And then he's claiming it, and then when I got out, I went, okay, well, what do I do? Do I, come out and ruin that for him, or do I let him try to make it and claim it? I don't know. And so that's why I wasn't sure, and that's why...
You could not tell us that it was him. You didn't need to lie to us in Ponderosa.
Well, no, people were telling... no, people were asking, you were the Nightshade, and I was like, no.
So just say that.
Okay. But,
Well, now he's...
Who the fuck was the
So
Nightshade?
you were the Nightshade.
I was the Nightshade.
Okay.
Okay.
And he played it
And now that-
incredibly. I was very...
He went out the door.
Well, but that was
say I
because
played-
there was another. It was because there was another vote. That was
I-
the Nightshade was completely removed from the fact that he got voted out. He got voted out because his game
Yes.
wasn't great. His Nightshade game, I thought, was great
I did
because
think
nobody
your-
suspected it.
I think your nominations made sense
Yeah.
for you.
So
Great.
the nominations were with the intention. What I wanted that round to be was actually, this is weird, but I wanted initially for me to be up against someone that I pull myself off and then put whoever, like Mackenzie or someone I wanted out. I wanted a Mackenzie versus Dylan thing, and then Mackenzie got it, and then I went, okay, so I can't put Mackenzie up there.
So why me?
So you were the next strongest person.
Oh,
I'm gonna be honest with
nice.
you. I know a lot of people are saying you could have played it differently, but as someone who is allied with Mackenzie,
Yeah.
she did say out loud, if the Nightshade tells me who they are, I am putting them up.
Yeah.
So you
I
were
didn't trust
screwed
Mackenzie
every way.
at all.
I just want to say I think that was a bad read.
What?
That I was the second strongest.
I
We'll
don't know.
get into bad reads. We'll get into bad
I don't
reads.
know
Yeah,
about.
I feel like I definitely should have been one of the nominations on that round.
Who would
Out of
you
four
would
people.
you would have put yourself up against Dylan?
Not every- not-
Absolutely. Everybody but you would have put him if
Yep.
they had that power.
100%, dude.
I think from our standpoint that is accurate.
Everybody.
Yes.
Every
So
single
when
person.
he didn't, when he didn't
Mackenzie
go
not
up,
doing
we
it
thought
too
it was
also
him.
blew me away. That's why I was
Well,
like,
because
wow.
she was like, surely I don't have to.
Well, that's what we were both doing.
and
I thought I didn't have to
I
because
gave
Mackenzie.
Mackenzie seeds
But then
to
you
not
had
nominate
2
me.
chances to do it.
What we mean
Because
with the,
one of your noms came down and then you had a second
Oh,
chance
sure,
to
but
do
at
it.
that point it didn't matter. Like once
It would have
like I
completely
was
changed what happened.
right, but I was already up. Is what I'm saying. Like
I
at that,
guess.
I was already in trouble and it was over.
I mean, in his defense,
Yeah.
because
I think
I feel like a
then-
lot of
Sorry.
no,
Sorry,
it's all
I just
good.
got excited.
I was saying in his defense, because I think a lot of people are like coming at Cody's game. Cody was handed a lot of bad hands,
Yeah.
and this was the yes, you're saying this
Yeah.
is the one hand he was given, but like
I was fighting from behind
Like
for most
Louis
of the
said,
game.
You got a Daniel hand.
that was
Yeah.
there was
Yeah.
nothing he could have done that from his
Not
side.
Yeah,
He could
round
have,
2.
as someone who saw the fight you put in from the bottom to get out. You got the seed. No one knew how you got them seeds. You
Well,
got the
well,
seeds.
That's
Well,
what
it's-
he'll
yeah, that's
explain.
what I
Yeah,
was-
but keep going. Sorry.
Yeah.
You got the seeds. You tried your best. You did this all while keeping it a secret. I think that takes so much courage to think long term to keep this secret than it does to be like, help me now. I'm like, you really did try it till the end.
I wouldn't have said a thing if not for Mackenzie putting me out. But I just didn't honestly expect her to put me out.
Yeah.
I didn't get to talk to her that round. It sucked.
I
So.
just think you had reached a point where you were going to go home no matter what. Like, I understand keeping it a secret when you thought you could stay, but once you kind of knew you were in a position where you were going to go home, I would have tried to use that as ammunition. Like, I'm going to put Connor up, someone who everyone wants. Sorry. Everyone wanted out.
I did. That, I mean,
In
again,
return
to
knowing
try to
that,
stay.
Yeah.
when you know that everyone wants you
Yeah.
gone, you just kind
I
of.
understand how that would have helped his game.
And
Yeah,
I
Mackenzie
want you guys
knows
to
it.
have the opportunity to talk about this
Yeah.
more.
Sorry.
But like I said, we got a budget and we are getting evicted in a
Yeah.
little bit if we don't
Yeah.
keep it moving. We have a lot of fun stuff coming up planned. In fact, Josh, do you want to tell us what we're playing?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so we're gonna play a fun game of jury superlatives. We're gonna start off. Who do y'all think is the class clown of Greenhouse Season
Oh, that's
7?
easy.
Reveal yourselves.
Taylor.
Taylor. We have
Who's
3
it say?
Taylors and 3 Connors.
Well, that is hilarious.
Come on, Goofy.
That makes sense, dude.
Y'all are funny.
Yeah, that track.
I think I would
You'll-
agree with both of those.
You're just like the memeiest person. I know that.
Mimi? What does that mean?
Like meme.
I don't think that. I'm such a flop online.
Everybody go ahead and clear your boards. Who's the shadiest on the cast? The
Who is
shadiest,
the shadiest queen on the cast?
All right. Does
Got it.
everyone have an answer?
Yeah.
Let's reveal. 3, 2, 1.
I see you.
JP,
I
what did
see
you
you,
write?
love.
Yeah.
We have a Courtney.
And it's with love.
Courtney.
Oh, that's right.
I'm hey,
He's
I'm
new to the
shady.
scene.
Really? I'm a ball of sunshine because I say it to your face.
I'm so
I wanna
excited to be
real
able to talk to
quickly-
you.
Yeah.
I found so much stuff.
I want to real quickly point out that is the craziest spelling of Mackenzie
I ran out of spell.
I've ever seen.
Wait, I just noticed.
I didn't
I
know.
don't want to erase things.
My Kens?
My kids.
All right.
I'm here to be content.
It's about to get nasty.
All right, so our next one. Who do you think is the most delusional on the cast?
Oh, that's
3, 2, 1.
And this one, we're gonna go ahead.
Hey!
And
You're
you're gonna
crazy.
explain your answer, Kai.
You're just mad.
Why'd you pick
No, I'm
Stephanie?
Stephanie, your loyalty was top notch. Girl, I need you to realize people are playing a game. They are playing this game and they are playing
Hear it.
you. And if once you realize that, you can go farther. But girl, the game is not what you think it is. I swear.
Louis,
I said Dylan.
why?
I think his reads are terrible. I thought he was a better player than he actually was, but hearing
thought the
him in
same.
the last few rounds, I think he portrays himself to be a really good player, but I don't think he's made any moves, and I
agree
think
with you.
he hasn't done much. He just seems like he's done a lot, but he's done next to nothing, honestly.
I'm very interested in that because day one he does seem very strong.
Taylor?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've kind of gotten into a habit of reading you on occasion.
Including in the exit
Including
interview.
in the exit
it,
interview.
It just
yeah.
happens.
I can't wait to see
and
that one.
Sometimes when you speak, I just disagree with everything you say. So, like,
Perfect.
it is what it is.
I want you to know I got him out though.
Well, you got out
Well,
at the same
you
time.
did.
And then you gave credit to someone
Cody?
else.
I did.
Who'd you write?
No, it wasn't. I wrote Stephanie as well. I mean, it's hard not to. You're not really playing your own game. You're just kind of letting other people play your game for you.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
and you don't see that. So
Connor.
Steph, girl. I mean, like, you're if you go to the finals, it would probably be better for you to get voted out now than get no votes in the finals. I feel like that's probably more devastating.
Yeah.
Like,
I have actually said out loud though that there is one way that would give Steph a vote.
And we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
And we
That's
got
possible.
we
I'll
gotta
still
get these
consider
a little
everything,
quicker.
yeah.
Okay.
And Aaron?
Stephanie, again, no hard feelings, and I think you're a great person, but you're really not playing the game very well. I think you have a bad read on the house. You have a bad read on JP and Dylan, and you had a chance to make a good move where you would have had a resume, whereas right now you have no resume, and you chose instead to not do that. So I think right now you're not playing the game when you could be.
And our next question, thank you by the way.
Yeah.
I love the answers. The next one is going to be who's most likely to get a call for All-Stars? Reveal. I see
Mackenzie, Aaron,
Kai.
Kai. Okay,
Aaron,
Mackenzie, Aaron, and Kai.
Kai. Okay, great job.
Slay, slay, slay. Okay, let's wipe our boards. Let's see. Okay, who in y'all's opinion has been smiling in your face but plotting for your downfall?
Reveal. JP.
JP and Dylan. Connor, Taylor.
Wait, what?
I mean,
Are
only
we
because
surprised?
you
Are we
literally did it
surprised?
the last
Wait,
And
Louis, who'd you say?
Mackenzie.
Mackenzie.
Mackenzie. Okay.
All right. This one, we're also going to try and keep real short.
Yeah.
What do you think was your favorite move or moment of the season? This is not a person, a moment. And we will have all of you say what your answer is, but don't describe it. Please just say it. Kai, what was your favorite moment?
My exit. It was sick. That was sickening.
Yeah, I wish I got to see that.
That was
And
good.
Taylor?
I can't lie, it was a moment.
Mind trap also.
Yeah,
Okay.
easy.
I might have said that too. I didn't get to see it though, but I just put the blackmail. No one really saw that except for us
You
two.
extorting Louis?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've never done anything like that in my life, so it was very strange.
Love it.
And Connor?
Courtney double buy.
Yes.
Electric.
Oh.
Yeah, that's cool.
Electric.
Yeah.
And
I
Aaron?
did put the Venus flytrap as well. It was very satisfying.
Yeah,
Louis?
I said Kai's exit.
Kai's exit as well? Okay,
Love
slay,
it.
slay, slay. For our final question, I want to know, who does the cast think deserves to be Miss Congeniality of the season? And for the Codys of the world, Miss Congeniality could mean Miss Congeniality could mean the nicest, the most friendliest, the person who you felt as if you can confide in them and that they would keep your secrets.
Just a
Okay,
sweetheart.
I've
Just
seen
the
the movie.
all-around-
Thank you.
Okay,
Jeez.
great. Just overall, the
Ally.
heart. Who is the heart of the season?
And
Let's reveal. 3, 2,
1.
1.
Courtney,
and Taylor.
Taylor.
That's
Cute.
pretty accurate.
So I think it's safe to say Courtney is Miss Congeniality.
The
Yes.
unofficial.
Love you,
Miss
Courtney.
Congeniality.
Love you, Courtney.
Shout out to you, Courtney.
And you know what, Daniel, you were robbed of that too. All right, so we are going to get into the next segment. You can go ahead and set your whiteboards down. Thank you all for playing. We are going to get into the final five. And we're going to talk about their games, why they should win, maybe where they fell short. But I really do want you all to be open-minded. And then after that, once the cameras are off, we're going to all come up with your questions. You will each get to ask the final three or potentially two. Depending on how the final four negotiation goes. So, Josh, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, let's go ahead and let's start talking about Stephanie. I want to hear everyone's thoughts about Stephanie. Just like what Brady said, maybe what she did well, what she didn't do well.
I'll start off, and I'm going to be more positive. I do think that, like, Stephanie came into this game and, like, won the first competition with a perfect score and nearly went home in the second round. And I do think that there is something to be said for her ability to kind of recover her position and kind of continue to progress and make it this far in the game. I worry at times it's because of how she was perceived as, like, less of a threat. I do think, though, she also made some interesting moves and won a fair few competitions. Giving Kai both of the banked votes was a really interesting moment. And if she was sitting at the end, I'd just be curious to hear her thoughts on that moment and if there were any other, like, little surprises she has that maybe we don't know about.
If anything that I could give her credit for, I guess it would be my exit, but I struggle to give her credit for that because I don't think it was her move that she made. I think she made that move for other people versus making a move that was potentially the most advantageous for herself in that moment. Because I think what Stephanie has to realize is that she is someone who I think a lot of people are viewing as someone who had floated through the game. And so she needed to do something that was big in that moment. And I mean, she got me out and fair and square, but I just don't think she did that for herself. It wasn't her decision. I think she played it for someone else.
I think this is very positive. I think a lot can be said for the allies that she made. Because she, at the end of the day, is where we are not.
That's true.
So I think a lot can be said for the allies she can make. I think a lot can be said for her comp and how she's played the game. Because at the end of the day, she had seeds. At the very end, at the most, I had 5 seeds, and that's because I didn't grab that goddamn safety in my final vote, right? Yeah. I wasn't winning comp. She was. She had seeds to pitch to other people. And at the end of the day, we may not agree with the people that she's aligning with, but she's aligned with the right people to get to the end.
But I guess if we're speaking on in terms of like, does she deserve to win the game? I think there's something to be said about aligning with the right people at the right time, but there's also something about knowing when to disalign yourself with those people and strike on those people. And I don't think she had that read.
I don't know if I fully agree with that, only because, okay, I mean, I was aligned with Stephanie, and like, yes, she was aligned with you too.
No,
and
me and her were never really
so
aligned.
what she said to me before, she was just like, I felt aligned with you and Mackenzie, I felt aligned with Court and Aaron, but because you and Mackenzie talked to me more, I'm going to stick with you two, which is part of the reason why she was willing to give me the extra votes.
Right.
And she was like, Aaron and Courtney are not talking to me anymore.
But then how can she say we're aligned? You see what I'm saying? I didn't feel that I was aligned with Stephanie, so I don't know where she
that was
would
before
get
that
that from.
from.
But I never.
What
felt
you're
that
saying
way.
is you never felt like there was a significant relationship.
Everybody,
there, whether Steph did or not.
Everybody that I was aligned with knew. You knew that I was trying to help you. You knew that I was trying to help you. You knew that I was trying to help you. You knew that I was trying to do my best to help you. You were kind of you were in a bad spot, and I did what I could.
I assumed we just kind of helped each other when we needed to.
But everybody that so how she was saying she didn't feel like I was talking to her, that should be a clue to her. Oh, we're not aligned. So that's what I'm saying. I don't think she does a good job at reading the house and reading what's going on well.
Okay, so I only have one quick thing to say, and it's mostly about her relationship with Trinity, because that was like a big part of the early game, and it was a good example of how this is kind of a negative thing in a way, because, and it's why I have a hard time voting for her. People have to pick up the pieces and the mess that she makes for her. So if she does have an issue or if she makes a mistake, she doesn't recover. It's other people help her recover, get her back on her feet, and then pull her farther into the game. Even Trinity, who got out like the round before me, like had to do that for her and played it very. I was there both times when they blew up on each other, mostly Stephanie on her. It was a little bit both ways. And I just wanted to emphasize that, like, Stephanie, you want to win, you can't let other people play your game.
All right, so when we're talking about players, one of the next players we are considering for the winner spot, the title holder, is Courtney. Connor, what are some strengths or weaknesses you saw in Courtney's game?
Well, based on the information that I have now, I had a bad read on Courtney. Courtney was like super kind but very stoic, and I took that as her like scheming and like just knowing like where she was at and feeling very comfortable with it. And I got in my head about it a lot, and I thought that she was a way bigger threat than she actually was. I think the double buy is an amazing move and a great thing to have on your resume, but I don't think that she necessarily has enough other things to back up just that and then get a jury of people to vote for.
Yeah. I mean, that was essentially Erin's move, right? Yeah. Like, that she didn't do anything.
That's what I was going to say.
And she didn't do anything with it necessarily other than buy herself safety. Right. She didn't try to make allies. She essentially said, oh, I'm just safe now.
Right.
Which doesn't make any sense.
Because you remember, dude, I kept coming up to you and being like, dude, Courtney's Courtney's the threat.
Yeah, she didn't like to give information much, which in retrospect maybe that's just how she is, but I also feel like she didn't want to necessarily make more allies. I don't think she wanted to put the effort in to try to further her game.
But Erin did choose to give those coins to Courtney.
Me and Courtney did work together very closely. She was someone that I felt like I could trust, in the sense that I knew she was going to be loyal to me. If I ever needed her to vote to keep me, she would always do it. If I ever needed her to give me seeds, she would do it. She was loyal, and she was probably the only person in the house that I knew without a doubt that she was going to be loyal. Like everyone else, I was never sure, but with her, I was sure. The downfall in working with Courtney is all the things y'all are saying, though. She hasn't done the best job at trying. She shows her cards very easily. Like, you know who she's loyal to. And if you, like, for example, when you were asking her, will you vote to keep me? She didn't even try to lie to you. She just immediately was like, no.
And
she doesn't know when to.
Kind of fierce.
It is.
Yeah,
but you never know. I
Very
guess you
stiff
never
move.
know who you'll need. And sometimes it's a fault to be too honest.
For sure, especially too because I thought we had a great rapport.
Yeah.
We hadn't talked a lot of strategy because I was trying to play the game a little bit slower.
Yeah.
But like based on our interpersonal interactions, she should have had a sense that I was
Right.
leaning toward wanting to work with her. And I told her explicitly, like,
Right.
if it's not me, right now I'm kind of rooting for you.
Right.
So when she told me that she was probably not going to vote to keep me, I found that to be a little surprising. I do want to give her flowers though, because like, holy fuck, I have never been told, like, hey, I'm going to get rid of you. And like, been like, oh my God, I love you so much. Like, this was such a beautiful moment. Thank you for sharing it with me. Like, and to do all that as like a first-time player, and I think like a first-time player for like most reality type formats,
I
like
believe ever.
She
Yeah,
never
she
watched
hasn't-
the episode of Family
Yeah,
Feud.
she
that's
hasn't done it.
incredible, you know,
Yeah.
for like
She's
a
very
first-time
sweet.
player to come in and make it this far and play such an immaculate
Yeah.
social game. The strategic game needed work.
Caught on quick.
But I think
Yeah.
that charisma is just so overwhelming, and the fact that people didn't want to shoot her sooner is a testament to how strong the mist is.
And I think that
And I
would
love
be her
Mist.
only pitch would be I was honest to a fault, but I was honest the whole game. I do think that she was about to get dogpiled, which is why I left her all of those seeds. And I'm hoping that maybe she was able to use it to strategize in a way.
She was.
And I want to talk
Yeah.
about, you gave her, so she got seeds the round Louis went out. You gave her 10 seeds on the way out.
Yes.
And we are coming up to a final four negotiation where if you do not have seeds, you are essentially powerless.
Right.
So it's possible that if Courtney survives this round, she is sitting in power next round.
Right.
And not just in power, she is determining who she sits next to in the final. I don't know how that all pans out, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that she has the experience to know who
Who
she's
to pick.
supposed to pick in that scenario.
It'll be very
we
telling.
need
Well,
to we need to
I have
ask
a
her about
question.
it.
It'll be a
Yeah.
telling moment.
Well, we won't ask her. We'll ask her whether. Well, I guess
Well,
if she's
If
sitting
she's
in the
there,
final-
we'll ask her about it.
Like, you have a question
Yeah, for
about
sure.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you think there's anyone she could pick that she would win against?
Stephanie.
Stephanie.
And there's
There's-
still
And-
game.
That's
There's
if
still
there's
game to
one
play.
person next
But
to
there's
her.
a
I think
potential that
Dylan
there's a
put-
final two.
You know what? If maybe an argument could be made against Dylan. I don't think so, but maybe.
I will be real. If she was able to make it up, she had Stephanie up there, and if there was a third person, if Courtney's argument was compelling enough, I could see the move, right? Like Aaron set her up, but did not tell her what to do.
Yep.
She did that
Right.
independently, so she understands the game enough to know this is what's smart to do in this situation.
Do we think
I
that
gave
was the
her-
smart move,
well,
though?
that's
Just to
not
immediately
entirely
buy
true.
everything and sit back?
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
That's
Yes.
not entirely true. I gave her one piece of advice on my way out. I whispered to her. I explained to her what I explained to you about why I gave them all to her instead of splitting them between you two. And I said, I think the only person here you can potentially trust is Dylan. I think you're about to get dogpiled, and I think you need to play these
I have a
seeds.
question
Okay.
for you.
Yeah.
Do you think if she didn't have the seeds, she would still
Absolutely.
been dogpiled?
I think she was next, and I think that because obviously Stephanie, Mackenzie, and JP are working together. And
But she voted.
Mackenzie
She
had-
voted me out over JP.
she voted you out
I
because
offered
I
to,
think
I
she
offered
doesn't.
to give her an extra vote.
She no
just to
longer
keep me in.
trusted you following the conversation that me, you, and her had outside, where she witnessed you telling me Mackenzie. She thinks you were with Mackenzie.
This-
And
Probably
that
a more
was-
emotional player
So-
than logical player.
I think we should wrap up
Yeah.
on
Can I just say
Courtney,
can I
but
just say
that's
one
what I was
thing
going to say.
real quick?
I think we should wrap up on Courtney, but I do want to pass it to you to give us one last note.
Cool. This is perfectly theoretically. This is not a universe that exists, unfortunately. I think if you didn't give her the seeds, she would be sitting pretty. And the only reason I feel like that is because you were her strength. You were her arm. I feel like they would not have been as pressed on her
Maybe so.
because they would have been like, oh, we saw how loyal she was. We see how sweet she is. And we can beat her in the finale.
Maybe so.
I genuinely think that
Cool.
this
If
the
they
seeds help.
played right, if they
Yeah.
played the
Right.
game right, which they might not.
but
right?
there was no one else that I would have wanted to get them to.
fully theoretical.
And
Okay,
we're,
and we'll go ahead and
we're
wrap
gonna
that
keep it
one up.
moving.
Okay.
What I want to do is move on to a Bob. Let's talk about Mackenzie. What are y'all's thoughts on Mackenzie, her gameplay
yeah.
so far?
I want her to win so fucking bad. It's
Yeah?
painful.
She's playing really well.
Why do you think?
I just think
Why does she deserve it?
Well, to me, she's the Janelle. You know, like she
Well,
reminds me so
Janelle's
much
never
of.
really placed high.
No, she's come in third twice. Don't lie. I think that like she has played a fierce like comp game. I think she's played a really interesting like middle of the road game. I think she's had like decent social connections. I really like Mackenzie. I think she's had a high profile the whole time, and if she's able to make it to the end, she's got a compelling narrative.
I love that.
She's crazy good.
I got a thing. So here's why I think Mackenzie's really great. In round 2, the three of us, you, me, and Mackenzie this is the round I kind of clocked her as like, oh, she's a problem. We were all sitting around talking about what our vote was going to be. She's a very observational player, someone who is content with just sitting, feeling like she's contributing, not having to get her hands dirty. She took the tulip. Obviously, that was the easy solution to do. But more so than that, she let us just kind of decide everything. And we were talking a lot about the vote, and I was like, well, I guess I could vote this place. And then we asked Mackenzie. She's like, no, I love all these ideas. And she's just soaking in the information. She's saying, I'm going to go. She even asked, well, what do you think I should do? And I'm like, as soon as she told me that, I was immediately suspicious. I was like, okay, you're too good at this. You're trying to make it me, and you're not and like, I don't know how to combat this right now. So I was just like, I don't know, go pawn off your votes. And she did, but she did this on something she was probably already going to do and isn't getting like clocked very easily for it. So that's just my big take on Mackenzie. She's a very good player.
I had so many conversations with her in the midst of the conversation, just realizing, speaking to her, and it was just like, you're clearly like going to take me out. Like, you know, you're so good at this,
Your fingers
but
on the
nonetheless, I'm still like buying into everything she says, because she looks right at you and she speaks so genuinely, and she takes your feelings into account, and you just feel like, oh, clearly.
And she can hold eye contact too. Like,
Yes.
when I had one serious conversation with her where she was trying to suss out whether I was lying to her, I wasn't. And like, I have never had someone I was like, I'm telling you the truth, and I'm scared to look away right now. She's got such.
Yeah.
Is there anywhere that you guys feel like Mackenzie might have fallen short?
Okay.
That was quick.
Honestly, I'm pulling at strings here because everything that y'all said is true, but at the same time, as the person who was the closest with her and worked side by side with her, that's a big reason why, we kind of went at each other, because we knew we couldn't sit next to each other, because if we did, the jury would be like, well, what did you do versus her? So what I'm looking for her to get my vote is for her to tell me what she did without me. But we're her only,
Louis, can you talk to me a little bit about your relationship with Kenzie, and maybe like once Kai was gone, I want to know where you guys were at.
No, we were definitely super close right from the beginning. I think very early on, like hour 1, there was a 5-person group, and it was Kai, and it was me, and it was you, and it was JP, and it was, who am I forgetting? I'm forgetting somebody. But that was a group that sat down together, and we were like, we want to run this long term. And so as we went along, like, she always told me I was her number 1, and she wanted to go to the end with me. And I'm sure she said that to multiple people, but I think my thinking was I knew that I could not go to the end with her. I was very, I understood I was not going to give away my game for her, but as soon as I started to try to make moves to take out JP, essentially, who was her number 1 pawn, she clocked it and she turned. And it was impressive because she was still playing the same exact game of, are you mad at me? Like, I don't want you to turn against me. Like, we're still in this. And I knew, despite that, I was done. And the very last thing I did, because it was my last-ditch effort, I talked to her and Stephanie. I was like, you are my only shot. All I have is an extra vote and a seed. I will give it to you, and I will do whatever I can to keep you. She took it and then immediately eliminated me. So
I live.
And I knew she was going to do it too as I gave it to her, because it was my only shot. And I was like, I know you're just going to remove me as soon as I give this to you, but it was my only play. And she said, I'll take it, and then she
That's
took me
what I
out.
was going to say, though, as her weakness. Do y'all not feel like she did not do a great job with jury management?
No, I'm hot and bothered by that.
I feel like she kind of did, like, I don't know. I think, to me, it is kind of important. It's an important part of the game to manage the jury, and, like, she burned you.
Yeah.
She burned me.
Yeah.
She burned you. I don't think she did the best job at.
I feel a little burned, but I still
Right.
respect it.
Can I speak to
Yeah.
this point
Yeah.
though real quick?
Please
Y'all
do.
watch Survivor?
Mhm.
You know Poverty?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's how she plays.
She
and
does.
so I recognize that from the beginning. Everything you guys are saying about like you gave her a thing and looked her in the eyes knowing she was going to do that to you. Poverty's done that exact same move to somebody. You know what I'm saying?
I had to
So-
blackmail your ass to get
Yeah.
that. Like,
my game and Mackenzie's game crossed one time when I had to pay her off to not nominate me, and the
Yeah.
way that agreement went was if I am not nominated during the Nightshade event across the board, I will give you 2 seeds. If I am nominated by the Nightshade though, I'm keeping the seeds. I have to use them to try to uproot myself, right? She is a weapon, dude. She's a weapon, and she was dangerous the entire time, and that's why, like, regardless of, like, any argument, in my opinion, like, based on how I played my game, I respect
Yeah.
the fuck out of that.
Yeah.
Because I saw how scary she was, and I just tried to fucking stay away from her unless I absolutely had to.
Absolutely.
All right. That was a perfect way to end it. I think
Yeah.
it was a beautiful little bow on your present. I know that. Mike Pack present. Yeah, okay.
Right.
Anyways,
Dad.
let's move on to a fierce diva who was never afraid of confrontation, Dylan. Aaron, do you want to start with Dylan?
Yes. Oh, Dylan. So, you know, I kind of agree with what people were saying earlier, where he's someone where you think he's doing things, but he's actually kind of not. And I say that because I think Dylan is one of the... What I will give him credit, I'll start on a positive note. I think Dylan knows when to jump ship on an allyship and pick up a new one that's going to benefit him a lot more than the one he was currently with. Me, him, and Courtney worked side by side for almost the entire game up until pretty much the point that I got eliminated, to the point where whenever there was a point where Dylan was on the block, Courtney was giving him seeds to help him uproot. Dylan has given Courtney and me seeds to help us. We were collaborating pretty closely, and so I think he did a good job knowing, though, that me and Courtney were kind of in a bad spot, and he needed to kind of leave that, and then he aligned with other people in that moment, and now he's still there, and I'm not. And so I give him credit for that, but I do think, you know, then I start to wonder if what is Dylan's move? Like, what can Dylan stand up and tell me that, like, this was my move and this is why I should win over all of those great things that we just said that Mackenzie did?
100%.
Yeah.
He can.
I agree.
You think he can?
100%.
Okay.
So I agree with you on that because I feel like his play style was very fluid, which I love that play style, being like water and being able to move.
Right.
resilient.
Yeah.
He never really seemed that stressed out.
Right.
I don't know. Like everybody else was like tripping a little bit. You know what I mean? And like he was pretty calm the entire time. I feel like that could be an argument made for him, but it's not as compelling as the other arguments that are out there right now. Like being a middleman and being able to play both sides is great, and I love that. But like, just in terms of like gameplay and putting yourself out there and in dangerous positions, there was one at the Nom and he was able to uproot himself, and he showed that he's connected socially. But
I want to.
I am so curious about this.
No, I'm letting people talk.
I want to ask Cody and I want to ask Louie. You two were recipients of Dylan's confrontation at different points in the game. Do you think that confrontation is a strength of his gameplay, that he's not afraid to just bring things out into the open, bring them to the light, and address them?
I think in social games, perception is reality. So it doesn't really matter like if people disagree with how he's played.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
We're going to take a quick pause.
I heard it.
I have heard a rumor that we have our next juror. Can we bring in our next juror?
Let's bring in our next juror. You did it!
Come have a seat right here.
No,
you got the Janelle placement.
Can you put these behind you?
I'm never a winner. They never let me make it to the end.
You do too well!
All right. Well, welcome to the jury,
Yes, welcome to the jury
Mackenzie. What
roundtable.
happened? How'd you get here?
Spill it.
Oh, they told me I played too good of a game.
But who was in power?
Oh, okay. So, Dylan and Courtney were in power, so I knew I was in trouble.
Oof.
And Stephanie was the only one left with seeds, so they originally had put her up. She uprooted herself so that I had to be sat there. I tried to plead my case that I can't deny that I played a good game. I think I played a good game.
Period.
Yep,
You
you
did.
did. You definitely did. You got up. Left no crumbs.
But I tried to say that I also got my hands very dirty and that I wasn't sure if you guys would vote for me.
No,
There
I
was
didn't
burning
know.
bridges talks, but yeah.
Yeah.
Mine was like kind of unlocked if you were there.
Yeah.
Same.
So was the
Most of
vote
us.
unanimous? Was it 2-0?
It was just her.
Oh, it was a 1.
Oh, just
Yeah, I
Courtney?
really.
Courtney
she
got
cast
you.
this-
No, it was just Stephanie.
Oh,
Stephanie.
wow.
Yeah, my
Cast
own
a solo
and
vote?
Alan.
Smart choice, Stephanie.
Wow.
Yeah.
Stephanie.
That's huge.
I
Hello,
was,
girl.
I was against JP.
That's huge.
So
Yeah.
I want
Good
to
for
ask
Stephanie.
you.
That's her. That's
You
her
came
man.
out. I
Her
saw
main
that you were
man.
feeling a little emotional when you came out. Is there any hug in this group that
That
would
you
make
need
you
to
feel
give?
a little more special?
Not any. Oh wait. Are you asking?
I'm hinting.
Do they know?
I'm hinting at
You
something.
Yeah.
told
They don't-
them?
No.
They don't know.
They
do
don't
not
know, so spill the beans.
Oh.
So what would you like to reveal?
Connor's my boyfriend.
What?
Y'all are
Wow.
such a hot fucking couple.
Fucking figured.
Are y'all
He's
surprised
a
by that?
psychopath in games.
You know what? You know what
though,
they
and
say? You know when people say like people look alike when they start dating? I see it.
I had no
I
idea.
see it.
Had no idea, guys.
Yeah.
But good play.
Yeah, we
You
don't.
talk so much shit about
Me,
that.
I'll
it's
speak
funny.
for myself. When her and I, we've played one other game together. We've always gone into it. We said if it comes to a point where we can work together, we will do that. But if it comes to a point where like we're obviously on other sides, do not do like the boyfriend girlfriend thing.
Yeah.
It makes it not
You're
fun.
But that's also not how we play games. We're
Yeah.
like pretty brutal when we play against each
Yeah,
other. So.
we're like we have like 300-400 board games.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh
yeah.
my
You're
god.
dating.
That's
Yeah.
how you hated me because I got him out.
No.
No,
No.
It was so
I
funny.
led that campaign.
She came up to me like during it, and she was like, "It's you," and I was like, "Look, dude, I know it's me."
Yeah.
There's
So I told
nothing
his
that anyone
sister
can
this
do.
morning before the game started. I was like, I'm taking him out.
Yeah.
I
He's
wanna-
playing like a rabid animal.
I want to ask you guys: is there any maybe close calls where you almost showed your cards?
Yeah, I
Let's
don't
talk
know.
about it.
Did you notice me touch her foot when we were all up in the thing?
I mean, I never would have thought you
Okay.
two were together. I would have thought,
Yeah.
if anything, like sparks may fly in the future. You both look really good together, so
Thank
it's hard to like not be like, hey, this would be a very cute couple. I didn't
Good.
ever think you were actually
Oh my
were
God,
one.
Yeah.
Double date game night, please.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank
I
you.
want to ask you, Mackenzie, is there anything you want to ask any of your jurors for clarification or to understand? Just anything. Is there any blind spots you'd like to address?
The only thing I want to confirm was, were you the Nightshade? Or did
Yes.
you- okay.
There was like a point. So when I left, I told him that like you just claim it because he was the only person I told. I tried to blackmail him into like helping me,
Okay.
which probably spread like wildfire from there. But eventually, I told him like, hey, you can just claim to be the Nightshade. That's a thing you can do. And so when I went into the jury, I definitely was telling people like, hey, I'm not it. I don't know.
Okay. Because that was the
Until we got
round,
out.
like, because that was when I put you up because I didn't trust you, and then I was trying to find the Nightshade and you didn't tell me.
I was never going to tell you I didn't trust you to not
That's
put me
fine.
up.
So when I figured it out, I was like, I was so fucking right.
There wasn't a lot of options. at
If
that
Cody
point,
would have
yeah.
come to you and said, I'm the Nightshade, would you have put him up or revealed it to other people, or would you have collaborated?
I would have collaborated.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really did want to work with you.
It was
Yeah.
a mistake, babes.
No, I mean, the problem was is like everybody was working with you, and I knew that, and I'm like, fuck, what do
That's
I do?
true.
Yeah.
So like, my goal when you got the flower, I went, oh fuck, well, because I wanted to put you against Dylan that round, but
Right.
I don't.
Yeah.
Speaking of Dylan, I know we kind of abruptly ended on that. I want to just get like maybe like 2 or 3 more points on Dylan.
Reasons why Dylan should win. Number 1, he got off the block twice. Not was on the block and got off. Didn't get
Resilience.
votes. He wasn't in the greenhouse till the very end, and still got off the block twice because he was able to make social net connections where other people trusted him enough to give him seeds to get off the block twice. High key, he's the reason I started spiraling because he said that you guys were,
Me and Courtney.
you and Courtney were going to put me up.
Which, Kai, I'm saying it for the 50th time.
Me,
If
you
had
can say all
just
you want.
came
We're
and
gonna go
spoke to
around
me,
and spoke to you.
that
I
would
do
have
it
never
before
happened
this.
to
It's
you.
fine. You guys say he was a middleman, but you just said about Stephanie, you wish she was able to jump back and forth. So it's like, oh, I don't like that he's middleman paying both sides. You just said you wish Stephanie did
No,
that.
I said that was a positive for him, was that he was able to know
And it might have
when
been
to
you,
align
Bob.
with the
I
other
heard
no.
someone said they didn't like it.
She said,
No,
who am
I
I
didn't
gonna
say
swing at?
anything.
Right, just like, who's
I
gonna get the
actually
smoke?
didn't speak when we talked about Stephanie.
I'm talking about Dylan.
I mean, I'll be real. I just, you know what I mean. I feel like I said what I had to say about Stephanie when I said.
And then my last one, which we shared a look as you walked out. He got Mackenzie out. He was part of the two that got Mackenzie out.
That is a pretty.
That's
pretty
huge.
Nice.
That is
That's
pretty
a
big.
little
Huge.
medal of honor.
dude,
I was
like,
Well, but
Only-
obviously we didn't have that information.
All right, Mackenzie, I want to pass it over to you to wrap up on Dylan. I would love to hear just a quick rapid fire, more or less, of what your thoughts are on his strengths, maybe why he should win, and maybe spots Dylan falls short.
His social game is phenomenal. When he first started speaking to me, I did not trust him. I did not want to work with him. There was a point when you guys were both put up, and he had come to me and he had said something about being final two with me, and I thought that was kind of out of nowhere, a little random. I didn't really trust that, and he had asked me if I said I can't tell you the same thing. I was like, honestly, I feel very equal about you and Tay. And not that my vote had anything to do with that, but
Because you weren't voting.
Right. I wasn't voting, but he did make a good case of why I should maybe help keep him in the game. And I was like, but he's so funny. But he's so funny and cute.
Thank you.
So he won me over in that round, and then from there, I think he drip fed me enough information to keep me working with him, but not that I had the full story.
Can confirm.
Yeah.
Well, then it sounds like with the people left, we have some great people to pick from. But
We have one more. We have one last one. Let's talk about JP.
that green-headed.
Let's go ahead and unpack that. Let's start with Connor.
Will not vote for him if he makes it. To the
Oh,
finals.
Okay.
Just won't give him a vote.
Why do you think he's not worthy of your vote?
He played like a really messy, panicked game, and also anytime I went up and talked to him, he just like gave me non-answers. I think you maybe spoke to that too. He just never gave anything, and I nominated him once, like vouched for him, was like, do not vote for this guy, don't do it, and then on that vote, dude, that flip that happened that put you out was like, that's because of Louis, and because like Louis and I are talking to each other, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just knock to you, man. It's just
I'm going to go the opposite way a little bit. And I came in here, obviously, with my vote for you, but JP is my second option on who I think should win. And I think it's partly because of what you said. When I walked in minute one, I saw him, he was panicked. Like, just panicked just to be there. And I was like, okay, he's very clearly going to be an easy person to pull along or take out whenever we want, and he's not. He has stuck around and like hid in the crevasses of this house for a long time.
When you're talking about his resilience in the game, you look at someone like JP who purchased the most expensive uproot of the season. He pulled himself off the block that round.
And
he also
Venus flytrap.
He was the holder of the Venus flytrap and executed that move. As well, he was able to survive more than one vote on the block. Those are pretty strong characteristics. Louis, do you want to touch on that a little bit more?
Yeah, I think it's not like we can say pretty confidently that Steph was dragged along. JP was not dragged along. JP worked for this and managed to successfully missed some people to get them on his side. And I think one of his biggest strengths is that I think a lot of us underestimated him, and I don't think necessarily that we should have.
Aaron, I see some passion over there. I'd love to throw it to you, and then maybe Taylor,
Yes. And again, this is all coming because I respect him so much. JP is someone who got under my skin so bad, and for that reason, I want him to win because he was someone who I clocked from the beginning of the game as a threat, and I told that to as many people as I felt that I could trust with that information. And I said, he feels like I didn't have a reason to back it up. It was mostly kind of because of what you were saying, where he never really was willing to offer information, but he was always willing to take it. And anytime someone does that, you kind of were good at doing that too, which is why I didn't share much with you either. I automatically don't trust you as a game player. And I was like, he's good at this. He's getting information and he's using it, but he's not having to give or show his hand in any way. And I kept telling people, you guys, because he did survive the block several times, like you said, and I was like, he's there. I think this is the chance to strike. And every time he was able to somehow get himself off of the block. Every time I had a chance to vote him out, I tried to do it, but he was able to convince other people that he was not a threat. While he was pulling out these big game moves, being his fly trap, pulling himself off, doing all of these really big game moves. And I agree, he was a panicked player, and I do think that panic was genuine, but I still think he was able to pull off some really great strategic moves. And usually when someone makes me feel like I don't want to vote for them because they made me so mad, that means that they deserve to win because they made me so mad because they played the game in such a good way.
You guys are,
and that's
you
just
guys
how
are
I feel.
swaying me. You guys are swaying me a little bit.
My
here.
point is really small. I went home against him, and I just think that it takes a really special kind of tact and charisma to campaign against someone, but still kind of be there emotionally, in a supportive way. It was lovely sitting next to him, and my heart kind of wanted him to win after it was all said and done, and I had basically had no game relationship with him before that. So I was very impressed with his persona and his heart.
That's jury management right there.
It was incredible.
Or maybe just being a good person, but...
I would love to wrap it up with a quick question to Kai, because I know he did fly trap you, and you did hug him at the end. What are your thoughts about him being in the finale potentially, and how that would...
He absolutely deserves it. 100% deserves it. He was there for me when I was ready to give up. He listened to me when I said who my final four was, which included him. He made me trust him enough to not be scared of the Venus flytrap, even though I fucking knew. And I mean, something you all don't know, I gave him 2 seeds that he used to take me out. So I gave him 2 seeds that he used to take me out, and I'm curious to see when you said that, because honestly, after the double elimination last night, me and him went upstairs to talk longer, and he told me then that he wanted my seeds.
Okay. Well, okay. So in the conversation that I had I lied a little bit. He didn't tell me last night. He told me today. That's when I got that information. That's when I said we should just do it to her then. And then that's when we pooled seeds. And I said, you know what would be funny? You should tell her that it's Aaron, that we're doing it for Aaron, and see if
He
she'll
already
chip
said
in
that last
seeds.
night it was Aaron.
He said it last night?
Last
well,
night.
He probably meant it last night.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's another thing is I think he got a
So
similar
I went,
read on
y'all,
his
that
read on
means
him.
he's been thinking about this since
Yeah, that's a
Right.
really good point. That's pretty cool.
Even
It's a
if
pretty
it
cool
wasn't
move.
me,
Right.
he was gonna grab that.
Yeah, that's a
Venus
pretty-
flytrap.
Well,
that's a pretty
yeah,
cool
that's what
move.
I was saying. I felt
Yeah.
me and him had similar I don't think he ever trusted me, and I never trusted him, but we were pretending like we trusted each other, and it was obvious that we did.
Also, I do want to give you some closure. He was almost out on Taylor's turn.
He was very close.
And
I
the,
know
but
it was
like
a
that.
4-3.
The reason that he didn't is because I already explained to him, Courtney is someone, again, who's very nice and plays with her heart, and she felt for some reason that she could trust JP, and I was like, I'm not going to force your hand. I think it's a terrible decision for him to stay, and I mean, look where he is now, and she should have listened to me, but she just felt like she owed him loyalty, and that's another thing to be said for his game, is that he was able to convince her of that. I could not change her mind. So
You guys are one of my favorite casts I've gotten
Period.
to watch.
Yes,
I
literally obsessed.
came into this world season 3 never being around any live reality game, and I have now seen every season of Greenhouse, or been there, been a part of it in some way, and you guys were one of my favorite casts to watch. This is one of my favorite sets of jurors. This is such a fun, vibrant group. You guys have a huge decision to make in just a little bit when you find out who the finalist is, whether it's a final 3 or a final 2. My last thing is, I want to encourage you all to go in with an open mind. Even if you said you will never vote for someone, give that person an opportunity when they're sitting up there, and I trust that all of you will do that. This was a great season, so pat on the back for you guys.
Yes. Clap for a sickening season and a sickening
And thank you all so much.
Cheers.
Cool. Okay. Gonna hit that. Gonna hit that.
Thank God.
Okay, so